dies.
A crow carried their soul to the land of the dead.
Few box office sensations are as of their moment as The Crow, the Baroque lullaby of beyond the grave retribution that swooped into theaters on a tailwind of tragedy in the summer of 1994. Brandon Lee, the film's 28-year-old star and the son of martial arts legend Bruce Lee, was killed on set in a freak accident involving a prop gun. The dark truth is that his death lent the whole movie a chill of morbid, art-imitating life gravitas. You weren't just watching an actor play a superhero rising from the dirt to avenge his true love. You were seeing, in a sense, the ghost of that actor conjured on screen via a posthumous performance that blurred the line between real and fictional loss.
Victims, aren't we all?
Thankfully for all involved, no grave misfortune hangs over the reboot of The Crow, whose behind-the-scenes troubles were more mundane. A string of exiting stars and creative teams that kept it in development hell for years. Of course, it was more than just the ghoulish fascination of Lee's presence that made the original a hit. That film was a junky runway show of a comic book fantasia that got by on the way it synthesized its goth influences into a highly marketable brand. This new Crow never tries to party like it's 1994, which is both a relief and one reason it's destined to become a footnote. Watching it, you're more aware than ever of how inextricable The Crow is from his Gen X genesis.
What's the first thing you liked about me?
I thought that you were quite brilliantly broken.
Directed by Rupert Sanders, whose Ghost in the Shell remake brought another 90s touchstone into the 21st century, the film loosely adapts the same James O'Barr comic book about a slain man who returns to life, mystical bird in tow, to hunt down the gang that killed him and his fiancée. But Sanders doesn't try to rebuild the hellhole Detroit where Alex Proyas set the original. If that take on The Crow was clearly made in the shadow of Tim Burton's Batman and Batman Returns, this 20 years later version is more like Batman Begins, trading bold flamboyance for a glumly realistic vision of a creature of the night.
I killed you.
Yeah, you did.
Gently tortured Eric and endangered Shelley meet Q in a prison-like rehab facility, before flying the coop and building a life together. Unfortunately, Shelley's past catches up with them, and the two are murdered in their love nest. The smartest choice in the script by William Schneider and King Richard screenwriter Zach Balin is to devote some screen time to the romance at the center of the story, as opposed to relegating it to snazzy flashbacks. But the relationship never develops beyond fashion spread canoodling. This is not exactly a love story for the ages, and so Eric's subsequent rampage fails to accrue the operatic heartache it desperately demands.
You know that love promises only pain.
Between bouts of gunplay, Eric returns to a limbo afterlife that resembles the foggy, marshy underpass of a bridge. You'd think they'd come up with something better, quips our hero's helpful spirit guide. The plot, tweaked for a new generation of mascara-wearing goth kids, is like something out of a My Chemical Romance concept record, with Eric agreeing to hunt down his beloved's killer, a literal servant of Satan who condemns innocent souls to hell in exchange for immortality, to free Shelley from the underworld. That's an agreeably over-the-top direction for The Crow to take, but like almost everything else in the movie, it feels half-baked.
I'm gonna kill them. Every single one of them.
Once more, planting his freak flag at the intersection of hunky and creepy, Bill Skarsgård is about as close to perfect casting as you're going to get for a 2024 version of The Crow. He's like some unholy love child of James Dean and Peter Lorre. The perfect combination for a sensitive artist twisted into an angel of death. And if Skarsgård doesn't quite escape Lee's shadow, how could he? He looks great with tattoos, black eyeliner, and a sword swung over one shoulder. In its best moments, this Crow feigns towards its own brand of rock star cool, and cool is about all that matters for this character.
You were given the power of a god.
But even at under 2 hours, the movie drags. It's paced more like a season of a Netflix show, where Eric once clawed his way immediately out of the soil. Here he spends most of the runtime preparing to become the Crow. The payoff is fun enough. We get one splattery kill spree set in a concert hall, but the sequence's late arrival throws into sharp relief how little the film has been delivering up until then, and how much it's deprived us of the adrenaline rush of its MTV meets Kung Fu predecessor.
You have no idea what hell awaits you.
The Crow is not the disaster its troubled road to release suggests. Here and there, it achieves a measure of moody appeal, and it never stoops to the craven business of simply tracing over the 1994 version. But seeing this material taken out of its original context, stripped of another era's idea of graphic novel and music video chic, really underscores how much those hot topic elements are The Crow. Without them, you're just watching another generic, vengeful vigilante pastiche, destined to be forgotten after the last flutter of eyelashes and black wings. Do you think angsty teens will build shrines to us? Shelley asks as the two lovers jokingly contemplate a plunge into icy water. But those shrines have already been built, consecrated, and worshipped by multiple generations of surly outcasts. They won't give this version of Eric and Shelley's tragic tale a second thought.
It's not anger. It's love.
Even with a gamely, brooding Bill Skarsgård in the title role, this Crow is a shadow of the 1994 version. A more generically operatic superhero movie that lacks the flashy style and Gen X attitude that made the original an instant goth sensation. And despite some fruitful tweaks, like devoting more time to the doomed romance The Crow is avenging, it's not different enough to compensate for the ways it fails to match the splashy, moody, dumb fun of what came before it. Maybe there's just something futile about trying to raise the story from the graveyard of Hollywood franchises. For more movie reviews, check out what we thought of Alien Romulus and Borderlands. And for everything else, stick with IGN.